Good morning everybody. How are you all today? I hope you're well. It's a beautifully bright day here today, but that brightness belies the fact that it's actually really quite chilly. As I was mentioning in the last video, or in my tour video, we're suddenly much cooler. It's great during the daytime. It's the perfect sort of temperature for getting on in the garden. I'll start in my hoodie, but it may be that as I'm doing stuff I warm up so it comes off. The main thing is, at night time it is getting quite cool now, so we're hovering at around about 10 degrees at night, sometimes a bit less. So with that in mind, my main focus today is I'm going to be looking at some of my delicates. No, I'm not doing my laundry on camera today. The delicate things in the garden. I'm going to be doing some protecting today. But also, over the next week or so, where are we? We're just starting into the second week of October. So the focus for the rest of this week is going to be picking and more picking. Literally over the course of this week I'm going to get the rest of the garden harvested, apart from the flint corn. They can stay a while longer, and of course not the stuff that's staying in the ground over winter. So yes, it's not, so for some of the jobs I want to do today, it's not ideal because we've had so much rain for the last 2 weeks. Not a lot in terms of millimetres, but just constant. So constant drizzle and showers, and a lack of sort of dry days for things to air out and dry out a bit. So today it's really bright, it's great. It's quite windy, which is not great for filming, but it's great in terms of helping to dry things out a bit. Because ideally the things I'm going to be harvesting, I would harvest them, you know, after a few dry days. But we're simply not getting that, so I'll just have to make the most of what I can do today. Before we go into the garden, just a few little bits to catch up on. So cute. Grow Your Own magazine, the November issue. I've got a little piece in there. Where are we? Just bear with me while I... Ah yes, it's in the little bit on planning your allotment. This was so hard because they asked me how I plan my plot. What advice would I give to someone starting, planning their first plot? And actually it's really hard to get it down into just a very few words. So they did have a lot more words from me than this, but obviously there's only one column space for it, so they've had to condense it. But they've sort of got the nub of what I wanted to say. It's a fab mag. I don't regularly get magazines these days, I just can't afford it. But I particularly love, it's the kind of, this is the big one in the UK. It's always so full of great articles, great ideas, really beautiful, inspiring, just such inspiring photographs. It is a feast for the eyes and for the brain. So if you're passing your local newsagents anytime in the next few days, check out Grow Your Own. There's some great free seeds with it this month too. I did mention this on my Facebook the other day, and I know that a lot of my overseas viewers were asking about subscriptions. You can get a paper copy subscription, but it's really expensive, obviously, because it's being flown to you. And we don't really want air miles, do we? So apparently they do an online subscription as well, so you can read it online. I know it's not quite the same as a paper copy, is it? Because with a paper copy you can read it while you're in the bathtub after a long day of working in the garden. Anyway, that's fab. It was a nice little bright spot at the end of a tough week. And just to update on that tough week, my great aunt's bathroom floor is now sorted. What a mess, what a palaver. Brand new floor. It's great. The mildly worrying thing is, though it was absolutely riddled with dry rot, which is undoubtedly through the rest of the house too, and we're we're going to have to replace all the floors in all the rooms at some point, but not for now. That was enough upheaval for 1 week. So anyway, it's done now. Brilliant. Right, quickly, just a couple of little thank yous before we go into the garden. Oh, 3 thank yous. Ali, thank you for your lovely letter. Just a really lovely chatty letter from Ali. Love it. It's great. Just to take 5 minutes out of my day, sitting in the shed. It was actually on the doormat waiting as I came out this morning. So I thought, oh, popped it in my bag, read it in the shed. Perfect. Thank you so much. And then there's a thank you to Liz. Lovely card. But what a tease. Sending me a card with the sea and the sand on it. Oh, and I want summer again. But Liz also sent me some, they're called purple red noodle bean. It's another yard long bean. So Liz is up in Scotland and tried growing these this summer, and they really didn't come to anything for her, and she thinks it was probably just a bit too cold. So she sent a load to me. You know, we are a couple of degrees warmer down here anyway, but also I think my site is so protected. We get the wind coming across, but I think in terms of temperature we probably get another degree of buffering just by all the, you know, we're in a city. So thank you for those, Liz. There's probably way too many for me in there to try, so if it's okay by you, I will certainly be sharing these with other plot holders. Thank you. And then, oh, this card is absolutely gorgeous. This one's from Marie. Isn't that beautiful? Look, bean poles and the veggies. And who is centre stage? Oh yes, the fox. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a lino print by Liz Myhill. Gorgeous. Simply called Fox. I do love foxes. And Marie also sent me some seeds. My goodness, it's all starting. Honestly, I think I've got enough seeds, but it's always so much fun to try new things. So Liz has sent me some Gardener's Ecstasy. I think this is her saved seeds. So it's related to Gardener's Delight. But can you imagine how much I love Gardener's Delight? Delight. Imagine ecstasy. So yes, I'll definitely be trying a couple of those next year. Thank you, Liz. She's decorated the packet with a little stamp from France she had on a parcel. Isn't that adorable? Cupping that plant. So that's the tomatoes. And this is a broccoli. It's a purple sprouting from Grow Seeds. And what I love about this, where's the info on it? Or did I look it up online? I can't remember now. But sales from these seeds. Oh, I can't find it now. Maybe I looked online. Ah, no, there it is on the front. They sales from the seeds. They have a water project. Water projects going on in Africa. So isn't that wonderful? We get to buy some lovely seeds or have some lovely seeds, and they're supporting water projects in Africa. Fantastic. I'd not heard of this company before, so I'll definitely be looking them up to see what else they do. So that's Grow without the W. You see that? Grow Seeds. How lovely. Oh, you wobbled because Rusty's just jumped up. He's standing on my glasses. Rusty, get off my glasses. He's looking for food. You're getting cuddles today, you're not getting food. Anyway, there we go. So, I think without further ado, it's time to get into the garden. Gosh, it really is beautifully bright today, but my goodness, it's a bit of a gusty gusset day as well, so I hope you're going to be able to hear today. Right, first job in the herb bed. I've got quite a few little jobs to do in the herb bed this morning. But first things first, the mountain tea. Also known as ironwort, proper name Sideritis. So I've got one little tiny part down here, which I don't know if you remember seeing right at the beginning of the year. Oh, it's so gusty. I did sow a few seeds. Paul gave me a load of seeds. Not a single one of them germinated. Woo. Paul also sowed a load. And out of all the ones he sowed, just this one germinated. I've heard from so many other people who tried it this year as well and didn't get any germination. So I will, of course, try again next year. But this one that Paul managed to germinate, oh, he gave to me on the day when the boys came down to see me for my birthday down here in the garden. So it's really, really precious. I want to give it some protection this winter. So initially I was thinking, I want to protect it from the cold, just because, like I say, it's so precious. It's the only one amongst all my friends that's grown. So I was thinking about the cold, but then I was thinking, okay, where does it grow naturally? Where have I seen it growing in, you know, Montenegro and Greece and Albania? It's growing halfway up the mountains. It's growing in areas which are quite chilly. However, it's also growing in places which are quite arid. So I am going to protect it, but I'm protecting it not so much from the cold, but from the wet. So I'm just going to use one of my cut-off, this is like, you know, these 5-litre water bottles you get. I don't use these, well, you know, I use my glass water bottle and I just use tap water. But I'm always seeing these in bins and knocking around the place. Grab them when you can, they're so useful. So I'm just going to pop it over the top. Actually, let me give you a closer look, because you can't see anything from there, can you? You can see where I've planted it. It's quite gritty. This end of the bed, I purposely put quite a lot of grit in for more Mediterranean type herbs that I didn't want to sort of be sitting in really wet ground. So I'm just going to pop this on, and like I said, this is more about stopping it getting too much lashing rain as opposed to protecting it from the cold. I just put a little bit of bamboo stick in there, which I can then put the bulldog clip on. Oh, it wants to go the other way. That will help it to stop getting blown away in the wind, and also foxes knocking it off. I'll keep a really close eye on this because, like I said, it would naturally be somewhere much more arid, and there's a danger by putting this on, of course, that I'm creating quite a humid little microclimate in there, and that could rot it. So it's on for now. I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm hoping that will stop it getting really, really, really wet. Also, with all this grit that got dug in, that's obviously helping drainage too. But in my heavy wet clay soil, yeah, it's not ideal for this plant. But anyway, hopefully that will see it all right through winter. Well, I'm definitely in winter-proofing mode today. So this little chamomile that I started a seed back in, oh gosh, I can't remember. When did I start it? Oh, it doesn't matter. It was earlier this year. It's been sat in this bucket on the deck all summer. And then when I took the tansy out, because I decided that I'd rather have lots of chamomile than lots of tansy, so I'm hoping eventually this whole area of the herb bed will fill in with chamomile. I thought, right, that bit that I grew from seed, that's done okay in the bucket, I'm just going to cut, sorry, I'm jumping my thoughts around. I'm just going to take off a lot of this growth. I'm just going to basically harvest my flowers whilst giving a bit of a cut back at the same time. Yeah, it was fine to sit in the bucket over the summer, but as winter approaches, look, we don't ever generally get really, really, really cold here, but this bucket is metal. That's perfect for conducting the cold. And the thing with anything in pots, especially these sort of smaller pots like this, is it's much more likely that whole pot could freeze, whereas if it's in the ground, get rid of the label, it's far less likely to. So, it needs to go into the ground anyway, because like I say, I want it to spread. I want to end up with a lot of chamomile. Just to get that bit of hyssop out of the way. Loads and loads of chamomile. And I really probably could have done with doing this a few weeks ago, but like everything, things get delayed. Now, how am I going to get this out? Because I don't need all of that compost. That's just, this could go horribly wrong. Oh, I think I need to get my knife in there. Yeah, that's it. Let's ease out that big clump. There's actually 1, 2, 3. That's one plant there, then 2, 3, 4, all in together, but they can all stay together and just clump up in this space. There we go. Yeah, so if you've got delicates in pots, think about either moving them to a more sheltered position, perhaps move them to an unheated greenhouse or cold frame. You might even have things you want to bring indoors over winter. But now's the time, to be getting on with it. Sorry, buried a couple. There we go. I'm just going to leave that alone now and look forward to some more harvests next year. Another must get on with job is to get the last of this lavender harvested. I could have done with doing it even a month or so ago, but I was really mindful that the bees they were all over it still, and I'd already harvested 4 bushes. I couldn't bring myself to take away their food. But when I was doing those big harvests of all the other bushes, which was towards the end of August, if you remember, I gave the French lavender really quite a hard pruning. It's all in flower again now. So, because that's all in flower, there's still plenty of food for the bees. Yay! As I was mentioning, I think right at the beginning, it's far from ideal to be doing this today after we've had so much rain. Everything really is damp. Because of that, I'm not going to hang these in sort of big bunches in the shed, partly because the shed is really quite cool now. It's dry, but it's very cool. And I just think if I've got these in big bunches, they're just going to sweat and rot in there. So they'll all be coming home with me, and I'll spread them out in a thinnish layer somewhere. It's getting hard to find places to spread things out at home because the floor is covered in beans, because a few days ago, the smell. Yeah, a few days ago we had a break in the weather again, and I picked all of my remaining beans for drying, beans for seed saving, and even the ones that had been quite dry, by the time I came to pick them, everything was feeling really quite damp again. So again, rather than leave them in the shed, they all came home. I've just got newspaper all over the floor in the living room. Literally all over the floor, with them all spread out, a bit of a dry in their pods. Then when I've got a moment, get them podded and spread them on trays. Oh good, nearly there. This will be another lovely harvest. I mean, it's just, isn't that a beautiful sight? Gorgeous. Right, chop chop Vivi, it doesn't do itself. Let's chat, more work. And also once I've cut all these, I can get to the grass path, give it a bit of a trim, maybe not today, but give it a trim and get my edges trimmed. I haven't been done obviously for weeks because it's been under the lavender. Oh, don't want to trim the borage or the chives. Okay, what's next? I'm thinking about the next job already. Oh, I know. This is a little bit of a pumpkin harvest. I'm harvesting my nasturtium seeds. Can you hear above the wind today? Oh dear. So let me show you what I'm looking for. It's going to take quite a while because there are masses in here and I want masses out. Oopla. This is what I'm after. So I don't ever sow nasturtiums, I don't ever plant them. They just self-seed every year and that's great. They work as a fantastic bit of ground cover. There'll be a bit of compost / mulch over the winter. Ooh. But before these beauties go over, this is the stage I want to get them at, when they are gorgeous and bright green still. They almost look like chickpeas at this stage, don't they? The idea with these is I'm going to pickle them. Now I know some of you are going to be shocked at the word mention of pickle in one of my videos because I generally can't stand pickles, chutneys, anything like that. But the wonderful thing about nasturtium seeds is they make a great, as people often refer to them, poor man's caper. There are just two pickles in the whole world that I like. That's my olives and my capers. So these have a beautiful sort of warm, peppery taste. And that little kick from brining and being pickled, it's gorgeous in salads in the summer and actually in hot salads in the winter. So I need quite a lot and they don't jump into the basket all on their own. So I better get picking. Oh, it's clouding over. We aren't due rain for quite a few hours and I really hope it holds off because I've got a lot of other little jobs to get done today. Oh, the smell as I'm picking it, gorgeous. So because I'm just going to pickle these rather than say bottling like I do with the tomatoes in the water bath canner, you know, when you're using your water bath canner you want to make sure you fill it up to make the most of the session. With these it's so easy to just do one jar at a time. So if you run out of patience and energy for picking, yeah, just pick enough for one jar. And the other gorgeous thing about the nasturtiums, probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, is what beautiful colour they give us at this time of year when so much else is fading. The nasturtiums and the chard and the cosmos, they're all working really hard to give us a bit of bright joy at this time of year. There's loads on the soil already, but I probably leave those where they are just for self-seeding for next year. Oh, dozens and dozens and dozens. I wish I could do scratch and sniff videos for you, because the smell as I'm rummaging, it's gorgeous. Well, probably another sort of 10 minutes of picking and I'll have enough to do one jar. I'm very, very mindful of how the weather feels today and other jobs that I want to get done, so I'm just going to quickly rattle through the rest of these before moving on to my next job. Feels like Groundhog Day, doesn't it? In the calendula patch again. So, as I was mentioning with the other bits and pieces I've harvested today, this is far from ideal because we've had so much rain. So, well, I want my seed, and we're going to get more rain. And actually, as the morning is going on, it feels like the weather is coming in again. It's getting really blowy, as I'm sure you can all hear, and the air feels absolutely laden with wetness. So it's a bit of a quick sticks. All I'm going to do, well, normally what I would do with harvesting my calendula seed, I'd harvest a long stem or harvest them by the stems, tie them in a bunch, hang them upside down in the shed in a paper bag to catch the seeds. That would do me grand. However, because everything is so damp, I really, really don't want to do that because, well, I'm pretty sure they'll all just go really musty and, well, more than likely rot. So instead, today I'm just going to snip out the heads. They're going in the basket here. I'll take those home. And yes, again, it's another thing that's going to go home and get spread out somewhere. I don't know where. I'm really, really lacking space to spread things out now. But yeah, I'll spread them out at home and let them dry properly. And then once I've got all the heads harvested that I want to harvest, I'll sacrifice these ones. I'll just cut the rest of the growth, I'll cut it right back. I won't lift it out because amongst it all are my parsnips. So I don't want to sort of take the calendula out completely by the roots because I don't want to disturb the parsnips, but I do want to cut them right down now and let the parsnips have some lovely light over the next few weeks. Oh, fingers crossed for the parsnips this year after the disaster of last year. Oh, it's always the same, isn't it? Every year there's something which just doesn't want to grow. And I'm sure I've said it quite often before, but I will say it again, especially if you're new, if this has been your first year, if something didn't work, don't give up on it. Don't assume that, oh, you're a rubbish grower, you can't grow that thing. Always have at least a second go at something, because, as my garden's demonstrated this year, one year will be great for one thing and rubbish for another, and then the following year, the thing that was rubbish last year may well be absolutely fantastic the next year. if that makes sense, vice versa. So for instance, oh, and I think I might do the harvest quite soon, squash last year. In the end, well, I thought I had 51 and there was one more that was hiding that I eventually found. I had 52 squash. That's a squash a week. Oh, and what's funny, I thought I'd gone through them quite quickly and I had about 4 left, but I'd forgotten I'd stashed some of them in where I've got my wardrobe. I've got a built-in cupboard right above it that I hardly ever use. I just use it for sort of keeping documents, you know, like house documents, all those things that you don't sort of need or use very often. I'd shoved a load up there too. So the other day I found another 8. So I've got 12 of last year's squashes still to use. Oh my goodness, they've kept perfectly well. Anyway, so that's the case in point, that last year I had 52 gorgeous, beautiful, tasty, yummy, massive, perfect squash. Yay! This year, do you know what? I doubt I'm going to have even half of that. I'm going to put it out there now. I doubt that I'll have even 26 squash this year. So yeah, if you have a rubbish year with something, please don't give up, because next year it might be the best year ever for it. Okay, well, this is going to take me quite some time. It's worth it, of course. It's always worth it when you're getting your own seeds. It's another of those things I keep banging on about. You save yourself an absolute heap of money by saving your own seeds. So yes, it's a bit time consuming, it's a bit fiddly, but my goodness, next year when I place my seed order and I think, well, I don't need that, and 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 I'm spending maybe 10 quid on seeds, I'll be really, really happy that I spent this time doing this today. Such a big bed of them. I'm going to shut up and get on. Yeah, so for now I'm going to say cheerio to you all. I hope you're still harvesting, getting lovely harvests. I know there are some of you in the world who are already, oh my goodness, already getting snow. I'm so grateful for this mild climate that means I can garden all year round. So for those of you who are getting snow already, happy hug time, happy hunkering down and getting cosy and doing your lovely cosy indoor things. For those of us who can be outside, oh my goodness, on these dry days, make the most of it. Get out there, do something, anything, go picking. Just get outside and enjoy it while you can. I will see you all really soon. Actually, I will see you all really soon, because after I've done this, I'm going to carry on for as long as I can today, as long as this weather holds off. So I'll be seeing you back here, well, not back here in the calendula bed, but back in the garden really soon in the next video. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other. Cheerio.